Everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've got kind of a long agenda here tonight, so we've got to do some humming if we're going to get done within a reasonable amount of time. Would anybody like to offer an invocation?
What's today, Bob?
What's today? That's a good question. December 11th, 2013. No invocation. Roll call. Risa.
Yep.
Kent.
Yes.
George.
Here.
Jerry.
Here.
Bob. Here. Steve.
Here.
Can we get an approval of last meeting minutes? Anybody want to make that motion? You want to read some more?
I'll make a motion that we approve last month's meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve last month's minutes. Just want to make sure I didn't have any notes on here real quick. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Old business. The Nooner-Davidson situation is basically finalized. Just for the audience's information, Nooner-Davidson did have contracts for that entire period of time for those large amounts of money. In fact, 3 of their contracts were completely open-ended. And so the difference was they were paid right around $25,000 when it should have been somewhere $5,000, $6,000. So they are basically doing exactly what they were supposed to do. So, B, water meter and hydrant report.
Huh?
Want to say comment? Yeah. No? No. If I miss anybody, yeah.
Well, if I could clarify, saying they did exactly what they were supposed to do may be a little misleading to the audience. Legally, they're in the clear. Ethically, what they did is questionable.
Oh, very good point, Gary. Absolutely.
Very questionable.
Very questionable.
Absolutely. Okay, now water meter hydrant, Risa.
Well, I got an estimate from UBW, and it is $5,213.50. And then I still have not heard back from the other guy because he hasn't gotten together with Brad, which they'll do. It's $3,500 to buy the 3/4 inch meter. But then, like I said, we're still on track to sell. Okay, I'm going to say certificate because I wrote back to you on an email today about that.
Yeah, it is
a certificate. Now, when I looked up the old hydrants, because everybody kind of got confused on some of the issues, when I went back through the books and looked up the hydrants and talked to UBW, the 2 hydrants that I can find so far, the one out Colonial and the one at the top of the pass, came to $15,036.43. So the hydrant that we're looking at to put in here is basically in the same ballpark.
$7,500, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
or
do
less,
we
but like I said, we can sell our 1.5 though and make up the difference probably, and so we might just either be money ahead or break even. We're not going to be spending $7,500,
Right.
for the hydrant. So.
Should we be advertising that thing for sale?
That was one of the things I was going to ask because I've tried. Kent was very generous to give me a phone number, but I've tried that. I've tried 3 different other ones. I even had UBW try to contact the California and Oregon Railway, who are the people who want to buy a larger service. And they're doing a lot of, I guess, reorganization, and so it's just been really hard. I'm going to try one more time to talk to someone at Roseburg Lumber because that's where this is going to go, is out by Roseburg Lumber. And so they have something that they're working with them on an easement kind of situation where this line would be.
I'm gonna go back to the same question, should we be advertising it
I
for
would,
sale? Like
yeah,
in
I think-
Craigslist or something?
Yeah, well, that's what George and I talked about, is Craigslist is a good place to start. Otherwise, it can also go in the News Review, but I don't really want to pay for an ad at this time.
Does somebody want to make a motion to put this thing up for sale on Craigslist and advertise and see if there's any interest?
I'll make a motion that we put it up for sale.
Second.
A motion and a second to sell the water certificate, or at least see if we can get some interest in that. Any discussion?
A secondary benefit to that is going to be the people on Daisy and about 1,000 feet up that road, 1,000 feet that way, 1,000 feet this way. You go down to a 6 on their eye. So
And the cemetery,
So no discussion, all those in favor of putting an ad in Craigslist? We're just gonna do it in Craigslist for right now?
that's where I'd start.
Okay. All those in favor of the aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? So let's see. I'd like to bring up a little bit of an issue that kind of segues in with that, and that's the issue out here of this memorial, the old hydrant that's out there, just because it came up at the meeting the other day, is I would like the board to entertain being willing to back the improvement of that memorial financially, to actually make it a nice, visible memorial to the fallen heroes, etc. Do we have that kind of interest? 'Cause what we have out there right now is just an old fire hydrant.
No plaque, no nothing?
No, there's nothing.
But how's gonna be a memorial?
That was its intended purpose.
it was placed there as a memorial.
Yeah, but I would like it to be something that represents, stanchions around it, brass plaque, something. Yes, Jerry?
Steve, had the volunteers gotten any kind of an estimate for putting up some
No,
type of plan?
we haven't had a second meeting about that, and we had an offer from a local citizen to provide a nice rock that would be a memorial. It was monumental looking, but we have not gone any further as far as what we're gonna.
So like a plaque or sign of some sort?
I mean, that was the plan, was to get some kind of plaque. but we
Would
haven't
it
explored
be worthwhile, rather than our voting on it now, to see what the volunteers want, and if you can get an estimate, would they first of all be willing to accept a donation from the fire district?
That's an interesting concept. We haven't gone into what we were planning on doing yet, so it's kind of premature on that.
Sure.
But you guys, I kind of agree with him, but I'm not on the board, so go ahead.
Well, we can certainly do that, that's all right.
I discussed it in January.
Lisa?
Oh, well, one thing I was looking at and thinking of, because I don't know if you've ever seen the ones in Prineville.
No.
Okay, well, they have a big park there with just for fallen firefighters, but it's the wildfire fighters, but nonetheless. When you put up rocks, which is what they do when you walk along the path, each rock has, they've taken a photo and a autobiography or whatever of the firefighter and placed it in these rocks. And it's a neat way that they've done it. I'm not exactly sure of how, but it's a nice concept. And I thought, well, we could do something along those lines, but in order to have it prettier, I guess, nicer, and not visible from the road, blah, blah, blah. Just a thought would be a semicircular, like the paver, the interlocking stones
Yeah.
and things like that, so that you can go up high enough that you don't see it, but we all see it from here. And then on the top of those, you could always place a plaque or a photo or whatever. Makes it easier.
That's a
Just
good
something
idea.
to think about, and it wouldn't probably cost that much or be that difficult to do something like that.
That's something I see.
And then you'd have room for future.
So shall we just table this until we hear back from the volunteers? Okay.
Okay.
The driveway inspection report. Anything new on
We're
this?
still doing it. I've got about maybe 5 more roads this month. The darkness is hindering us, I'm sure. So we've just been doing them on calls and going out on the way back and getting individual roads and stuff. However, we are progressing.
Cool. Uh,
Do you have an idea of percentage-wise?
So far, it's been really good, actually.
No, but I mean,
Oh,
are you
percentage-wise,
halfway,
I'm
or
probably-
you have 3
No,
to go,
no, I'd
or
say
you've
we're-
only seen 2?
I'm gonna guess 15%. maybe?
Okay.
Okay, that's a good question.
All right, thank you.
Let's see, item D, equipment analysis review. This is just kind of a reminder that we need to establish a district policy at some point in regard to this issue of the driveways and equipment.
Another policy?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Item E, 50/50 grant inventory and status. Where are we at on that, Steve?
Well, I just gave George a piece of paper that he wanted. The money is due, you guys are gonna get some big bills tonight. Kent has them in his possession, and that's about, how much is in there, $8,000 maybe? And that's we had, well, first of all, let me say, we were approved for $17,771, and it's a matching grant. The state was gonna provide $88.85, and we were gonna provide $88.86. Here, nope. I got one for you. I don't have one for the I'll review this one. So maybe you guys can share that.
What was the amount again, Steve?
$17,771. It's down at the bottom here.
Okay.
Yeah.
On George's.
Oh, on George's, okay.
8885. When we all got done, I got that was actual bids that we got from everybody. During the summer, I spent playing them off against each other because they're just vendors. And when we actually came done, it was down to $16,085. So we saved about $1,600 by playing them off each other. So I called ODF and said, hey, because what's supposed to happen is that money's supposed to go back to ODF so they can give it to other people. Well, ODF's, the new grant guy says, we don't want that money back. I want you to spend every penny because we won't get it next year if you don't spend it this year. We have to spend what they gave us. So I had a week to go buy $1,669.15 worth of more stuff. And I did that, and we got the invoices, and they're all in there. Kent has them. And that money all has to, those invoices need to be paid, and then basically the total of what we have right now will be reimbursed to us in cash, because a lot of the stuff was purchased in last fiscal year and then already earlier this year. And I can go over that list if you want. So the thing I just gave you shows the stuff that we bought after they told us to spend more money. And we're still spending, so afterwards, when I was all done, I had $16.35 left. It's going to go back to the state.
Damn.
Good job.
Get batteries or
Couldn't find
something?
anything I couldn't find out.
Drop that figure again, 16 what?
There were gloves.
No, 1,600.
69 15.
$16, that's pretty good.
So the actual total now is you got it. I'm going to give you this.
Okay.
So this is the actual total of the grant. This is what was approved before, and this is what is approved now.
Okay, but we need to take off because of the paid gas monitor that was paid for. We need to take $624 off of it, correct?
For what?
Because it was already paid for previously.
The invoices he had are for the items that were not paid for previously. That's all he has.
So you were just going by the invoices then? Okay.
Can
It's all
you go over that list real quick, Steve? The one that George is looking
I
at?
can, so go ahead.
Well, I just had a question. So everything you just handed us came in good condition, no problems. It's all
Down to here.
down
These
to,
were pro forma invoices that are being shipped right now. We may not, I don't have those in my possession, but I have the invoices for them.
okay, all right.
So,
But everything else, because I saw a whole table
Right.
full of stuff, but
that was the last big shipment before they came back and we had $1,600.
so everything's been checked off. Good, all right.
You want to go over the whole thing or what?
Yeah, can you-
Quickly or what?
Yeah, just go through them quickly as the fact that we've gotten all these things and what are they, where are they,
So we have,
received them yet, that type of thing.
On the first list, we had three each Kenwood VHF 128 channel pack sets, or portable radios. They're compliant with Oregon Forestry.
There's 3.
Yeah, that's the,
This one
and
says
I had actually bought, there's 2 at the top, and I just got a new one, sorry.
Okay, but that's coming in.
Yeah, that's coming in.
So
that's a typo actually on the top, sorry.
so if you look
Do you
at
guys have a different
that.
list, ours says?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's 2,
confusing.
sorry. I just finished this, because when I was typing this, instead of typing this, I was with Bob today at the
Fine.
insurance.
Okay.
Here's
so
mine.
here's the third one.
Yeah. So there's 2
I understand.
we purchased previously, and there's 1 we just bought. And those have been issued to our EMT first responders, so they go directly to the scene and they can tell me such. Okay.
Okay.
The 11 each 2.5 nylon hose, 50-foot length, sticks of nylon, went onto the rack, and we'll go through ISO standards again, but we're required to have whatever's on the unit, we have to have that much on the rack, so we do now. So it's doubled, and that's the end. After all these years, we've been buying that stuff for about 5 years now.
You must like hose.
Yeah. There's some benefits to hose, and especially in natural disaster, we're able to make a mobile water main, basically. We can lay water hose all over this time and pump water to you.
I like yellow. You got yellow.
We got it done. The next one is 4 each 5-gallon Class A foam wildland structural. Class A foam breaks down the surface tension of water, so it allows it to penetrate better on structural fires and on wildland fires. There's 1 on both engines. That's in here because there's 1 on actually on 1080 also, the wildland unit, so I'll change that.
So, Steve, if I may, I'm not real familiar, of course, with this equipment. So that's something that sprays foam, so it
It's
has-
just a 5-gallon jug of foam. You can use either a water adductor to suction it out and mix it properly. It's mixed 1% per gallon of water. So a 5-gallon jug goes to 500 gallons of water.
So this is just the foam that you're putting
Right,
into
right.
a tank that you already have?
Right.
Okay.
So on our vehicles, our engines, we put in 10 gallons, we'll get 1%, which is more than enough to soak into anything. In fact, it'll make the foam bath in the vehicles. And then on 1080 with the 200 gallons of water, we only need less than a gallon for that. And we just dump it right into the tank instead of using an adductor. The adductors are pretty expensive. The next one's a 20-inch Tempest chainsaw. We had an old wildland chainsaw on 1080, which is still there. It's a old steel, and this is a Tempest 20 inches. It's designed more for ventilation on a structure fire. We never had one before, so it's a new piece of equipment that's on 1030.
Is that the one that has a round blade on it?
No, that's a rescue saw. That's a
Okay.
circular saw.
This is the one that was on the table back here the other day.
Right.
Remember that one that was back here?
Yeah. The next was 2 each jackets, structural. Those are structural PPE jackets. I'm trying to every year go get 2 sets, so we won't be hit with buying 20 here at the end of the like we did last time. For
So we're talking
$37,000.
turnouts here.
Yeah, turnouts.
Okay.
Pants and jackets.
What's the expectancy on how many years you get out of it?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Same thing for the pants then.
Right. And they were issued to our 2 new firefighters, Carson and Chip.
Yeah. PPE is personal protection, something?
Personal protective equipment.
Personal protective. Trying to get a handle on all these.
We bought 6 each wildland jackets. They're replacement for 6 older ones. There's new standards and stuff. They're a little heavier. When I was going through the stuff, the other stuff's just in like a shirt. There's not much protection left in it. And the 6 that we replaced are up, that we have them upstairs in storage, and we're going to have to decide what we want to do to surplus them or something. There's no value to them, but yes, sir.
That's going to be bonus, right?
What do you expect to see it to last? In other words, 5 years, 2 years, 3 years?
10 to 15 years, I don't know.
On the
On the wildland stuff?
wildland as well, okay.
When you're talking about surplus turnouts,
Turnouts that are less than 10 years old, or more than 10 years old, there's no value to them at all. In fact, they took, not in the United States anyway, we traded in a bunch of them when we got our new ones, and they probably went to Mexico or somewhere, I imagine. That's usually what they do.
but I was just saying, are they not used? They've never been used or worn out
Which
necessarily?
ones? The old ones?
The surplus things you were talking about, the old ones? I'm just saying if they would be of value to any other place that we could donate is what I was thinking.
Yeah, if they're more than 10 years old, they're not of any value, but if they, and we're not going to give any away that are less than 10 years old. Because
No, I know that, but I'm just saying if it would be better than throwing them away.
I can ask around, you're
Sure.
absolutely right.
Okay.
We used to send them to Mexico where I used to work, so I'm not sure. I mean, because they had nothing back
I got a question. If you have a set that's been hanging in here and it's past 10 years old, never been used, what happens with that outfit?
there. Technically, it goes by the date of manufacture, so. that's all I
So
can
theoretically, you could have a set that's never been worn that are out of
say.
date.
Right, right.
Okay.
Now, I've been, the reason I'm going 2 a year, one reason is I'm buying this for specific people, so that, and I'm buying it for people that are in our firefighter 1 class and stuff. We do have a set of some giant Sasquatch type guy we used to have here. He was only here about a year and left.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that a new firefighter came down here the other day and wants to join, and it happens to be
Oh yeah, that guy was
a
pretty
giant
big.
Sasquatch, so it's gonna fit. And it's less
This
than
is
10 years
being
old.
recorded,
It's
you
about your
know,
size.
so
Okay.
I would caution, hey,
And this 10-year deal is an NFPA reg or something?
For the structural, it is.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the wildland has new NFP standards, I haven't reviewed them yet, so I'm gonna have to look.
Okay.
I guess that works.
6 each helmets, wildland or replacement. They're using full brim helmets now, so that you don't get ashes and crap down your neck. And so we have 6 old ones up there in the
What
storage.
do the new ones look like? You happen to have one?
They're upstairs on there.
Okay. Are they like a,
Kind of like a safari hat, one of those things that guys used to use in Africa.
okay,
Around, like the postman used to wear, it's got a
Mhm.
rim all the way around the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Get that, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
his helmet.
Got it.
Keeps that
Yeah.
stuff from going down your neck. The pressure governor was a repair on water tender 661 from last fiscal year is $413. That was installed on it, and the other part was gone.
This is-
broken.
this is just charges, labor and parts for the repair?
Right. It was $413 a pressure governor with discharge repair. 4H hydrant wrenches, one went on engine 1030, 1031, 1080, and 1061. They're new. We had 1 or 2 on each unit, and it's not enough. I mean, you gotta have one on each side. When we're doing something, we don't wanna be running around the vehicle trying to find stuff. I mean, I kinda went around and looked at things that probably should be here that weren't here in the past, and this was our chance to get it.
Cool.
Female adapters, the next 3 are different types of adapters that we only had 1 or 2 on each unit, and water tender is not enough. And they're for joining hose, different hose ends
Are
together.
these
and
quick,
that kind of stuff.
quick release?
No, it's national standard thread, which is bigger than iron pipe, but not quick release. And that's the standard thread for fire trucks. I do have some adapters down below, which are quick release, and I'll talk about those. And that's what DFPA uses on the wildland. We had to get some of those because we didn't have them. The gas monitor we bought last fiscal year, I'm going to put it on 1070 because it has the charging capabilities on it, because we have an inverter on there.
Now you're talking carbon monoxide?
Right.
Okay.
It's 4 gas monitor. We bought that last week. 2 each fire shelters large. They issue new fire shelters now that are large size for people over 200 pounds. We didn't have any. One's going to go to 1030 and one to 1080. I talked with Bob today. We had originally issued all fire shelters to everybody. I'm taking them all back. We're going to put them on the units so that when the units roll, there'll be 4 fire shelters on the engines. They'll have belts on them. They're adjustable. They don't have to go carry them to the units. They'll be on the unit.
And
So I have to redo that for your inventory.
will that be one for each person that you know would be on those
Right.
units?
Yeah,
So
there's
if one
16
unit has
total.
3 people, one unit has 5 people?
Yeah, Two will go on 1080, the wildland unit, 4 will go on each engine, 3 will go on each water tank.
Are those individual or are those for more than one person?
Yeah, they're individual. Here's one right here. Just, they're,
Don't take it out,
Packets.
you'll never get it back.
well, they're still in plastic, but they're just a big piece of foil that you hide yourself in if you ever get overrun. So you try not to get yourself overrun.
No, sure.
Okay, so if you're out fighting a fire, you should be having one on, strapped on.
A wildland fire, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed this year is we didn't have any belts to wear them with, so that's what I bought out of the last. They use the same kind of clip as a military belt. You know, with the weight here. One electric smoke ejector, 21 inch, we put it onto engine 1030. The other one is a gas powered smoke ejector. It's used for removing smoke from a house, or also using positive pressure.
That was the big fan looking
Right.
thing.
The reason they're changing from gasoline is because the gas injectors, once they started using CO monitors, they found that we were pumping more carbon dioxide into the house than we were taking out of the house.
Oops.
So that fan can be used to eject smoke from the house, but it's much more efficient to positive pressure inject smoke.
And how do you get the electricity for it?
We have generators on each vehicle, and I have about 200 feet of cords on each vehicle right now. Also, it's a variable speed, so it won't blow crap around. We can adjust the speed, and even during the summer, maybe. We were talking about that, throwing it here at the door, ventilating our office here while we're working.
So what are we doing with the other one?
At this time, I want to carry it on one of the other units, but it's in storage right now. Okay, that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
No, you tell George.
We got a back pump, which is a portable 5-gallon backpack that carries 5 gallons of water. And we had one before on 1080, which is fairly old, and I put another one on there. And how that works is when we're doing a mobile attack on a wildland fire, when we're driving out through, you have one guy in the nozzle, you throw a couple guys out with these backpacks, and they follow up behind and pick up anything that reignites or sparks. They're pretty cool little thing. It's pretty common in wildland. That was new 1080. 2 each Pulaski's. Teresa knows what those are. These are 6.5 pounds.
Weren't those the ones in the office? Yeah, those things, these are big ones, yeah.
We only had 2 before, so now we have 4.
You have to be able to lift.
What's the difference between a Polanski and a super Polanski?
It's the super plastic is heavier, and it's a grubbing tool, so the extra weight actually helps.
Yeah, these things are
Okay.
big.
Cut to the ground and scrape down to bare ground.
Okay. And what truck did you put those on?
They're on 1080.
You want both of them on the same rig?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it goes on a while.
Okay.
5 each flashlights, 9 degree. We never had individual flashlights for each person. We have 4 on 1031 that came with the engine. And so I've been buying, my plan was this year was a budget for 5 flashlights. So when we got the grant, I decided to buy them out of the grant instead. They're 90 degree, which mounts on your turnout coat here. So when you're walking around, they're shooting straight out ahead of you. And then when you're crawling, which is usually what we're doing, they
Flip up.
flip up and they're pointing straight ahead of you when you're crawling, so that's nice.
That's those cool yellow ones that were in here?
Yeah. So I got 5 of those because 5 the first time because that was what we were limited to on money. And then we'll go on that. And then I got 1 each monitor, deck gun, master stream, which was one on 1030. That's up on top of the unit. That was probably one of the biggest purchases we had. It was around $2,000. And that vehicle never had one. It should have had it when it was bought. It didn't have it. We had an open pipe sitting on top of that engine all this time. And it's real effective for barns and garage fires and stuff. They do it a blitz attack. We have 1,000 gallons of water. We can dump a bunch of water really fast, knock the fire down, and then pull a hand line in behind it.
Just single rotate?
Yeah, it's all manual. We didn't get the electric ones for more like $5,000 or $6,000. Ours is manual. Just so you know.
As long as it works.
That's a fun thing.
Great.
So when this all came down, we had some money left over, so I went back and got 6 more 90-degree flashlights because I have 16 people and we only bought 5. So now we have 11. And these are called knuckleheads. You'll really like them when you see them.
Weren't there 4 though already on one of the rigs?
There's 4 on 31 that are assigned there. So you're exactly right. So we're all gonna have a total of 15 now. Okay. And then some of us already have, we have personal lights. A lot of us, some of us have personal lights that we bought before or
Sure.
something. These are called knuckleheads, which they're kind of interesting. They're a 90-degree light, but the light also swivels. And it also has a magnet on it, so if you're on a vehicle rescue or something, you can
Planted.
plant it on a car or the side of
Sure.
a vehicle or something, aim it at what you want to aim it at. It's a pretty cool thing. And it's
Yeah,
twice
good.
as bright as the ones that we have at night.
Twice as bright as those? Really?
So now you
Holy
can see the
smokes.
cemetery.
Man.
I bought another Kenwood radio because we had the chance to at the same price. That's also going to be issued to one of our firefighters. What I've tried to do is, anybody on Outline, on Colonial, Larson, I used to have one on Happy Valley, but I don't have any more firefighters on Happy Valley. Lookingglass out towards the quarry, I try to get at least one of them all have radios, so as they come in, they can tell us what they find as they go by.
Right?
So just keep
We had 6 pair of wildland gloves last year, from the last fiscal year. I added that to it, it was $225 or something. And because I could, plus we could get half that money back, so. And by the way, I'm limited to firefighting gear only for this grant. There's no medical aid gear or anything else, so they're kind of specific, so I was having to go back and search for receipts and stuff.
Mhm.
And then we got the belts for the fire shelters, so now we can wear them. The next 2 are adapters, quarter-turn adapters. DFPA and ODF for forestry are the only people that use the quarter-turn adapters. And this gives us the capability of, whatever usually ends up happening is we end up supplying water. This gives us the capability of matching up to their hoses. So we have them on both engines and water tender 1061 on the wild.
So we actually got 8 of those?
We got 4 females and 4 males.
Okay,
So
okay.
whatever they give to us, we can match up to.
Okay.
And then I had $90 left, so I got one helmet light just to try to bring it as close as I could to 0. And that's a light that actually clips onto your helmet. I have a personal one. For the officers, they're pretty cool because when you're doing reports and stuff, you can, wherever you look, like if you're looking at emergency paper, you can work on that.
Cool.
And, if you're looking down on a fire, like we've been going down to Winston on these RFP fires, and you're looking over the edge, looking down on the sawdust and stuff, it helps to be able to see it.
Cool.
Did any of this come with bows and ribbons?
What's,
It was like Christmas. all
I
right,
know,
too.
it sounds just
Uh,
like Christmas.
Now, I guess we decided it was gonna come out of the equipment replacement fund,
Yes,
and
it
the
is.
money going back, is that going back in the equipment replacement fund, or? Because there's some of the stuff that was bought last fiscal year, I was gonna try to separate that all out, but I don't know what you guys wanna do about that.
separate it out in one way.
Well, because it was already money spent from last year before we changed the policy on where the equipment comes from. Because I had budgeted some of this stuff into our equipment budget this year. So some of that has been bought through the grant instead of the budgeted.
Oh, I see what you're saying. See what you-
So,
But it depends on how much money the equipment fund owes the general fund to begin with.
Yeah, we haven't got that far yet.
No,
So,
we haven't.
anyway, that was a long talk. So that's the status of this grant.
well,
This all has to be in by January 15th. I'm gonna try, I got the stuff I'm gonna try to get in before the 1st. And the only thing left I need, they just came back and said that invoices aren't good enough, that I also need some statements that we actually paid. So I'm gonna have to get, we have some with check numbers and stuff on it, but I'm gonna have to get together with you, I think, and maybe go back and search the statements our past couple months and identify each one that that money actually went out of our bank account. Because we don't get receipts from the vendors.
mhm. And you can do that with Kent.
Yeah.
I think Steve did a hell of a job on this.
I did
My
too.
compliments.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
That was fun, that's the fun part.
Wait
Yeah,
till I get a hold of you, Steve.
But it looks like you did, I mean, everything on here is
Anyway, we'll work together a little bit more, so I make sure
Well,
I get this all inventory correctly.
well worth the effort. Any